Good morning, everyone. This morning, we're going to be talking about whether you want to be right in a situation or you rather be happy. You've probably heard this phrase before, but where does it actually apply? And additionally, some terms that I think are going to be really useful that we'll go over is our definition of sacrifice and what are some examples of when this really plays out. Additionally, acknowledging that people just have really strong opinions. We don't even need lots of information to support these opinions, but people tend to believe in what they believe very strongly, how we can work around that. And lastly, just giving some real examples on the being happy side of things versus the being right and how it can benefit us in life. Good morning, everyone. Enjoy the show. It's going to be a good one. Cheers. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Chalk Terror Morning Show, where I go over tips, tricks, ideas, and examples to help you become the absolute best person you can be, not only for yourself, but for the people you love and care about most. This morning, we're going to be really knocking out of the park this idea of would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? You think you've ever been in a situation like this before? And we're going to get into it on the second half of the show, but really the main two examples and situations that I've been in this personally, and I've been seeing a lot of my clients in, is in relationships or in the workplace. These are the basis of most situations, right? But it just shows that it comes up so much. So I thought it was worth a morning show to really dive in and see if we can break down this idea. Maybe it's just a fresh reminder for us this morning. Maybe we're talking with some family members. Maybe we're talking with some friends. Maybe we're talking with a coworker, or we're in a situation with somebody where the tensions start to rise a little bit. The tensions start to rise, and we need to ask ourselves, do we want to be right or do we want to be happy? Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? I think sacrifice is a powerful word. Maybe we can throw it up on the board today. Let's get going with the chalk. How's everyone doing this morning? Feeling good? Feeling great? So we're talking about a little bit of sacrifice for ourselves as we're learning. Would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? So sacrifice. So I think there's three realms of sacrifice that we can kind of get into today that would be beneficial. So we can think under sacrifice for goals, for relationships, goals, relationships, and also for growth, personal growth. As we're heading down the idea, we can all acknowledge that some form of sacrifice is going to be necessary for us to get where we want to go. So just to give a few examples on each one. So sacrifice from a definition standpoint would be, what was the definition I had in my notes? It's associated with giving up something of value for sake of a higher purpose or greater good. And pretty much, so sacrifice, giving something up of value to us for the greater good or higher purpose. And I think it really fed into these three things more than anything. So you're asking yourself, what am I willing to sacrifice? What am I willing to sacrifice for my goals? What am I willing to sacrifice my goals? What is your number one goal? If you and I had the lovely time of sitting down in a coffee shop, what would you tell me your number one goal is? So getting around goals, so sacrifice. What can we sacrifice to have a strong, better relationships? I think the relationship part, humans are emotional creatures. We tend to have really strong emotions, these strong emotions tend to have us have strong opinions. I ranted all the time with my friends, my family, my girlfriend, everybody who's really willing to listen to me, that I'm really trying to work on not having such strong opinions, whether it's in politics, not having such strong opinions, not having such strong opinions about something. I will learn, I will read this. I'm catching the pattern, folks. I'm catching the pattern. That's all we can do, right? Is catch our patterns. But I'll read one article, I'll see one thing on the news, I'll listen to one podcast, and then someone will say something to the opposite effect of what I just learned, and I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to go right into it because I believe that I am right. But the crazy thing about strong opinions, another 30 days goes by, and then you realize, oh, shit, I was wrong. That's not how that works. Go figure. So having strong opinions, be very careful of having these strong opinions because we want to be open-minded. And I think this is a part of a sacrifice, recognizing these patterns, because there's going to be a little friction. I've done this for years. So it probably makes sense that I'm not going to be able to knock it out of the park on the very first day. But for relationships, sacrifice, I would say this ties to our heading more than anything, is asking yourself, are you willing to let other people be right for the sake of your own happiness? Even if you win, quote unquote, win an argument, how do you feel? How do they feel? What was the benefit that we got out of it? And the other crazy thing about arguments, and the other thing about when you are quote unquote right, did the other person change their mind? Probably not. Go figure. So it's like the worst of both worlds. Not only do they feel like crap, you feel like crap. So we want to make sure to ask this question this morning, this awesome question of, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? How do we do this? We let go. We let it go. Just like clouds in the sky, cars on the highway, they come in and we let them go. People are going to have their opinions, and yeah, we want to be supportive of them. And yes, I think it just proves that we need to be strong. We need to sacrifice, whether it's with our food, we being disciplined with our sleep, being disciplined with the things that actually make us happy and healthy. So that'd be under growth. Growth. Are you sacrificing for your personal growth? Because the greatest thing that we can do for the world, I truly believe this, is to just become a better version of ourselves. By becoming a stronger version of ourselves, by getting a good night's sleep, by eating good, healthy, nutritious food, by letting go of bad habits, not drinking alcohol every night, not smoking pot every day, not letting go of nicotine products, letting go of these things. These are things that I've really worked on to let go of and have a relationship with. My growth continues to skyrocket. And then as my growth continues to skyrocket, my opportunities for better relationships and I tend to reach my goals. I personally, a lot of my goals are tied into relationships and growth. So in sacrifice, maybe we ask ourselves this morning, what are you willing to give up? What are you willing to let go of in order to have healthier relationships, happier relationships, and to feel better overall? So the two examples that this comes in most with, good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning into the morning show. So workplace, the next time you're with something with work, this can either be with your client, this can be with a coworker, this can be with a boss or whatever. There's going to be coming a situation to where they believe with their resources, their situation, their experience that they are right, and they might vehemently come at you in a strong way that's going to be upsetting. This morning show, this is what this is all about. We just want to prepare ourselves for when this happens, because it's not if, but when. But when someone comes and pisses us off a little bit, rocks the boat a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Are we going to react? Are we going to let that ruin our day? In the past, Raise your hand if you're with me. I, in the past, used to let other people have a bad day make my day bad. Is that good? I would say, hell no. Screw that. So sometimes letting it go, or just, it's so much easier said than done, right? We're sitting here and we're talking about it, but when it actually comes, that's when it's really tough. But I think having the knowledge and just raising awareness to it, like, man, I was doing that today. I'm going to be nicer to my partner. And because sometimes we all make mistakes. People have strong opinions. We're all part of this human family. And so just letting go, sacrificing our ego, sacrificing some of our immediate indulgence, I think can really help set us free to be happier and healthier people. The other segment that I wanted to, the other example besides just work, say in the workplace dynamics in a professional setting, say like a team or a manager or something like that, coming in and rocking the boat, and just kind of maybe, what were some examples? I'm looking over here at my notes but insisting on being right and imposing one's ideas. A team member might choose happiness by fostering collaboration. So maybe you can just foster some collaboration when you're working with people. Maybe you can just listen. We got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Maybe we just need to listen a little bit more. You'd be surprised, and you wouldn't be surprised probably, but I was surprised on how quickly I would form an opinion on it, because remember, people have strong opinions with limited information. We'll have super strong opinions with limited information. It's one of the downfalls of man. And it was because I wasn't even letting them finish. I wasn't really listening. I was talking in the sense just to reply. I was talking in the sense just to sound smart. Sound familiar? Yeah, I think we all do this. It's not if we're going to do it again, but when and how long are we going to do it? Catching ourselves and raising awareness to this is the key. So collaboration, listening to others, finding common ground. Wow, finding common ground with folks. What happened to that? What happened to being like, hey, like it reminds me of politics, and I try not to have strong opinions on politics because I'm sure a lot of people are upset with leaders and this and that. It's like, man, all people involved in this stuff work really long hours, and they're really charged up. They have really strong opinions. But man, if we could just remember the things that we have in common, I think it would really discharge a lot of the negative energy. But that's hard work, and it takes, sacrifice. Like we're talking about definition of sacrifice. Maybe we combine this morning talking about sacrifice, talking about courage. I think it takes a lot of sacrifice and courage to just listen to the other person, and let's figure out, what do we have in common? What is the common goal here? What is the common mission? This is a huge reason why the biggest and the best companies, the greatest families, relationships are built off of a core mission, core values, real purposes that we embody, that we understand for each other, so we can let go of all of the bullshit and small little details that don't really matter, that don't matter at all. Man, I've been tripped up on that stuff so much. Oh man, they said this about me? They said this about me? No way. And just getting charged up. So maybe the next time you're talking with your spouse, maybe you're talking with your family member, maybe next time you're talking with somebody you love and care about, acknowledge that people have strong opinions in different things. Acknowledge that not everyone knows everything. And be willing to sacrifice our ego. Be willing to let go so we can be happy. I don't need to be right. I just want to be happy. I want to enjoy my life. And being quote unquote right isn't always the answer for that. So I wanted to bring that up this morning. This is most common with relationships and workplace dynamics that I've seen. So be very careful of this when you're trying to prove someone right, when you know you're right, but there's a better way of going about it. So instead of charging a statistic at them, like, you did this wrong, look at the software, look at the answers, look at this, you're clearly wrong, I'm right, you're wrong, you don't know what you're doing. Instead of doing that, maybe we say, well, I'm having a hard time viewing it this way because of this. What do you think? What do you think? Or I'm not really sure. Maybe it could be this, or I would have to disagree. Is there common ground we could find? Or just kind of pointing towards, I wish I had somebody to kind of like talk to and have banter with, but I'm sure you can really visualize and play out these examples of just not charging the situation. And if there's nothing that we can do and nothing that we can really change, sometimes saying nothing's the best, because just arguing and putting more gasoline on the fire, I don't believe is always the answer. So being very careful of that. But giving people a chance to talk, giving people a chance to figure it out. When we're all little babies and kids, we let people kind of stumble on their words and try it again and try it again. Famously, Jim Rohn's like, how many times would you let the kid try to walk before he stopped? Like, whoa, you tried 10 times, buddy. Clearly, this ain't for you. Now you let people keep going until they figure it out, especially in families and relationships. If someone's trying to be better, damn, I'm trying to give them all the space in the world to grow and to be better, because that helps me too, because I'm going to be around them. So it's a win-win when we can have the right framing, when we can have the right awareness, and we can really just support this idea of sometimes it's better to be happy than it is to be right. I don't need to prove anything to the world. I don't need to prove this person wrong, so I'm right. And rarely does that benefit anybody in the long term anyway. So cheers to that. Knowing the difference between the two, I think, is true wisdom from the Serenity Prayer. Shout out to that. But this workplace dynamics, relationships, I think we can easily get caught up with people messing up, being a little late, little tardy to the party, or someone just trying to avoid blame in the workplace so they don't have to feel bad and they can try and make someone else feel bad. These are human patterns, conditions, and I think our own sacrifices and acknowledging other people having these strong opinions can go a real long way in being happy more often than feeling the need to be right more often. So cheers to that. I asked you the question as we depart. Would you rather be right? Would you rather be happy? What are you willing to sacrifice? What does sacrifice mean to you? And you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Cheers to supporting individuals that we love and care about. Cheers to being a better version of ourselves, like we talked about under the terms of sacrifice. Sometimes we got to sacrifice to achieve our goals. Sometimes we got to sacrifice to have better relationships. And sometimes we got to sacrifice to grow. Cheers to that, friends. That's all I have for today. Shorter episode, but I'll be live here again Friday morning with episode 473, where we'll be going over another exercise to help you become the best person possible. Cheers, friends. Like the show, comment on it, your favorite part. Maybe you have an example of when you were trying to be right instead of happy, or when you're proud of yourself for being happy and not right. But in case you need to hear it, I love you. You're badass. You got this. Let's have an incredible, incredible day today. And I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Thanks, friends. Peace out.